Okay, last time we left off with Ahab's victory over the Syrians, over Ben-Hadad. Unfortunately, he did not execute Ben-Hadad, who was probably a pedophile, Satanist, I don't know. A bad guy. And God ordered him to completely wipe them out, I think, and he didn't. Unfortunately, he made an alliance with them. King Ahab, the king of Israel at that time. So, and then God warns him through one of his prophets that now you're going to face that penalty now because of what you did. And yeah, that's the problem with Ahab. He's kind of a yes man. He's doesn't even use his brain. Somehow he's the king, but he doesn't seem that smart to me. I don't know. Just how it's described here. I've been saying he's just kind of just kind of walks along and, oh yeah, bro, okay, yeah, And then he lets Jezebel do whatever she wants. Evil queen, pushing Baal on everybody, The whole Baal worship came from Jezebel. And Ahab is seeing all these miracles, seeing Elijah, everything Elijah does, and seeing these miracles and these hopeless battles, how God is saving him. God is making every attempt to reach out to Ahab. And Ahab is he's very weak. He's a weak mind. Just dull. Why don't you make a stand, Ahab? Why don't you stand for something? Stand for God. Why don't you divorce that Jezebel? Throw her off of a cliff already. She's going to get thrown out of a building, but throw her off a cliff right now. Just get all that evil out of there. I'm yelling at the Bible. That's how I want it to go. It's like I'm yelling at a TV show saying, no, you got to go this. I'm watching a soap opera and it's not going how I want it to go, and I'll shut up. Okay. Let's begin in prayer before we continue from chapter 21 of 1 Kings. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time to study your word. Please teach us. Open our minds. Open our hearts. Reveal to us your truth, wisdom, and knowledge. And please have all of your will in all of our lives. In Jesus' name, Yeshua. Amen. Chapter 21, Ahab covets Naboth's vineyard. Naboth. I feel like the spelling is different in the NIV. I don't remember. Naboth. This is another indicator here of how weak Ahab is. He's such a whiny little girl. No, that's an insult to little. He's a whiny little boy, is what he is. Chapter 21, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or, if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. But that's his land, That's his birthright. But Ahab and Jezebel are psychos, so... Well, maybe this Naboth didn't know that at the time, maybe they haven't shown their psychosis yet, but yeah, I mean, I can look at it and think to myself, well, I would have gotten out of there right then. I would have taken the deal. I could have had a better vineyard somewhere else, 10 million miles away from these psychos, you know. But it's his land, it's his birthright. This was my father's land. This is my land. Why don't you make another herb garden on the west side, over there, the west side of the palace? Go over there. Leave me alone. 3. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. Yeah, that's his land. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed. So loud. I'm sorry. I have to shut the door. Sorry. Okay. I lost where we were. I think we're at 4. No, we're at 5. Or no, we're at 4. Let's start from 4. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would eat no bread. But Jezebel his wife came to him, and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. Like, what kind of whiny... See, I don't understand, because I'm not a king. You know, I don't understand the mentality, you know. Isn't there like a million other things you could do in your palace than... I want to make an herb garden. See, I just don't understand it. I don't understand being rich and completely stupid. But that's just my opinion. It's pure evil also, how this plays out. And he's being a whiny brat. You know, it's like a little kid that... It's like the Twilight Zone episode of the kid that can just think and somebody immediately is removed from existence, you know. That's what this guy is. That's the kind of power he wields. And he's got the mind of a little kid like that, you know. It's pathetic. 7. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out, and stone him, that he may die. Pretty despicable conspiracy she's setting up here. 11. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles, who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him, and the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city, and stoned him with stones, that he died. Look at that, right there. that kind of corruption. How bad do you think it's getting now? No matter what I do, no matter what I say, anybody could do that to me. Just come up with anything. Then you get a corrupt judge in there. Yeah, stone him. Good! I don't have to be here anymore. See, that's not a good attitude either. But when you have rulers like this, why would you want to live in the country anymore anyway? Why don't you want to live in this world anyway? If all your leaders are a bunch of Jezebels, how is there any justice? How is there any truth? How is there any goodness in this world anymore? Why should I bother with this world? With this evil all around me, I have to. Because there are people who are hungry for the word, that are dying. And they want to be saved. Just don't know. They just have never heard it. They don't understand it. And that's our job. That's why we're here. But this makes you sick, though, to see this kind of corruption. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab arose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. Probably killed any other relatives, right? Anybody who will lay claim on the land, better have them killed too, right? Elijah announces Ahab's doom. I love that. I could underline that, circle that, highlight that right there. That's a perfect title. You are doomed, buddy. 17. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. Gotta get my herbs going. Herbs! Of all the hobbies, why do you gotta go with that? That's funny. Okay. 19. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, In the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? O mine enemy. And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Look at that. See, Ahab on the surface, he could be just an average guy. If he had a good wife, Instead, he's got the wicked witch. If only he had the good witch. Maybe just no witch. How about a sandwich? Maybe if he just had a good sandwich, he would have made the right decision. He wouldn't have screwed up so badly in every single instance of every recorded thing about him in this book. But, it's sad. Thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Sold thyself. That's interesting. 21. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. And will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. I think it's Jehu that throw her down. Is it Jehu? I don't remember. 24. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. See, it's pretty clear how that's written there in 25. He sold himself. And Jezebel pushed him in that direction. Sad. How many opportunities did God give this guy to turn back? How much time did Elijah spend trying to, talk to him? All the miracles that Elijah did in front of this guy, and he still didn't see it. It's sad. "26. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things, as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. Ahab's repentance gained him a respite." 27. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes, and put on sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. And look at that. Maybe there was something good in Ahab. Maybe it was just, as it's written here, with Jezebel. Just all these bad decisions. And you get that evil woman in the background going, What are you doing? Do this now. And that's all you're hearing all the time. Like, why did you marry this woman? But that's very positive. 27 through 29, right? That he humbled himself and he went softly. Maybe he just slowly died in prayer, in his last days. I don't know. But that's certainly more positive than some of the other sad conclusions to some of these characters you read about. Do we have time to read chapter 22? Oh, that would finish Kings. Yeah, let's finish Kings. Chapter 22. The 3 years' peace between Syria and Israel. Verse 1. And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel. Ahab, aided by Jehoshaphat, makes his third Syrian campaign. 2. And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth and Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria? And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt thou go with me to the battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as thou art, my people as thy people, my horses as thy horses. See, this is kind of a mistake on Jehoshaphat's part. Jehoshaphat is actually a pretty good king, but he's making this alliance with Ahab, and Ahab, as we'll see here, he hasn't learned anything. He still makes this horrible mistake, and yeah, never mind. Let's just read what happens. 5. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today. See, Jehoshaphat makes a point to ask, What is the word of the Lord today? And Ahab's just like, Nah, let's just go, bro. Let's just go. And Jehoshaphat's like, No, we need to pray first. We need to find out if this is, if God's with us here. Because if we're going into battle without God, we're dead. And Ahab's just like, fine, bro, but this guy, he always says bad things about me. It's like so offensive. He's not politically correct, he's so offensive. That's Ahab talking. The lying prophets of Ahab. Verse 6. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, it's almost like it's saying, these are 400 prophets, but Elijah killed those 400 Baal prophets earlier. It's almost like it's saying there's no difference between the two. Isn't that amazing? I don't know. That's just my thought anyway. Gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him? Yeah, who are these prophets? Are these more Baal prophets? You just replaced them with 400 guys just somewhere, Is there a prophet of the Lord? We have to be specific here. 8. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord. But I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. He's such a bigot. He must have voted for Trump. And Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, hasten hither, Micaiah, the son of Imlah. I love that name. Micaiah, the son of Imlah. I love that. 10. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, having put on their robes in a void place in the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, the son of Chenaanah, made him horns of iron. And he said, thus saith the Lord, with these shalt thou push the Syrians until thou have consumed them. Just comes up with this. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the king's hand. So you got 400 brain-dead morons. And here's the real prophet, Micaiah's true prophecy. He comes in the door, 13. And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spake unto him, saying, behold, now the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good. And if you don't, I'm going to jam these horns into your neck or your gut. That's probably what they said behind the scenes, Don't say anything bad, because we only prophesied good. We're prophets. We're the prophets. We'll pay you some money on the side if you say something good. 14. And Micaiah said, as the Lord liveth, what the Lord saith unto me, that will I speak. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, go and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver into the hand of the king. Go ahead. And the king said unto him, how many times shall I adjure thee that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord? And he said, so he was mocking there, in case you didn't notice. He was telling them, yeah, go ahead, just run out there. You'll get him. You'll get him, boy. But really he wants them to do that because they'll all get wiped out, because they're going into a slaughter, basically. God is very much against all of this. He doesn't want to have anything to do with Ahab. This is all Ahab's scheme, and Ahab is evil. And he said, 17, and he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills as sheep that have not a shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit, and stood before the Lord, and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth, and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning thee. But Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah went near, and smote Micaiah on the cheek, and said, Which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto thee? Just rotten. 25. And Micaiah said, Behold, thou shalt see in that day, when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. And the king of Israel said, Take Micaiah, and carry him back unto Amon the governor of the city, and to Joash the king's son, and say, Thus saith the king, Put this fellow in the prison, and feed him with bread of affliction, and with water of affliction, until I come in peace. And Micaiah said, If thou return at all in peace, the Lord hath not spoken by me. And he said, Hearken, O people, every one of you. Battle of Ramoth Gilead, defeat and death of Ahab. Verse 29. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself, and enter into the battle, but put thou on thy robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself, and went into the battle. So he disguised himself probably as, conscript reporting, some standard soldier. And versus the king of Judah is wearing all his kingly robes and kingly attire, So he's trying to get the king of Judah killed. What a lowlife. But the king of Syria commanded his 32 captains that had rule over his chariots, saying, Fight neither with small nor great, save only with the king of Israel. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, Surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him, and Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass. See, cried out. He probably said, Oh, God, save me. And God saved him, really, And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture, and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, Turn thine hand, and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. Who do you think that certain man is? That's interesting. What are the odds? He's probably like 10 lines behind the entire battle. And then just a certain man I'm going to shoot my bow. And then, right in the perfect spot where you're dead, What are the odds? It's not likely. Who do you think that certain man is? Just leave it with you. 35. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up in his chariot against the Syrians, and died at even, and the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot. And there went a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, Every man to his city, and every man to his own country. So the king died, and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. And one washed the chariot in the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood, and they washed his armor according unto the word of the Lord, which he spake. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he made, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? So we'll see a little different perspective when we get to Chronicles, obviously. We'll talk a little bit more about Ahab. Accession of Ahaziah over Israel. Verse 40. So Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah his son reigned in his stead. Accession of Jehoshaphat over Judah. 41. And Jehoshaphat the son of Asa began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in all the ways of Asa his father. He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. Nevertheless, the high places were not taken away, for the people offered and burnt incense yet in the high places. I wonder if that's all done in secret, or do the king, you'd think if he's following God 100%, he would have taken down these high places. I got to assume that these high places are in secret. Otherwise, you'd think that they would have broken them down, but I don't know. 44. And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and his might that he showed and how he warred, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And the remnant of the Sodomites, which remained in the days of his father Asa, he took out of the land. See, he took care of that, but he didn't take care of the high places. At least he got some things done. 47. There was then no king in Edom, a deputy was king. Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, but they went not, for the ships were broken at Ezion-Geber. Then said Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, unto Jehoshaphat, Let my servants go with thy servants in the ships. But Jehoshaphat would not. Good move. Death of Jehoshaphat. Accession of Jehoram over Judah. 50. And Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, his father, and Jehoram his son reigned in his stead. Character of Ahaziah. 51. Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel and Samaria that 17th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and reigned 2 years over Israel. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam, the son of Naboth, who made Israel to sin. For he served Baal, and worshipped him, and provoked to anger the Lord God of Israel, according to all that his father had done. And that's how 1 Kings ends. It's really emphasizing that point, isn't it? And it's a slow walk to destruction. Walking into evil, agreeing with evil, making all these treaties with Satan, That's what it all boils down to. You make all these treaties with Satan until there comes a point of no return where the moral fabric of society begins to break down, Israel is headed in that direction. Judah, as you can see at the end of 1 Kings here, there's little points that they make, that Asa, what he did. There's little glimmers of hope, but ultimately this is a slow descent into madness, into eventually, at the end of Kings and Chronicles, we see the annihilation and going into captivity of the Israelites. You see the pinnacle of Israel at the beginning of First Kings. That's how we started with Solomon, and everything was great. They had everything. They were so blessed. And then we see civil war. We see all these outside nations, all these thorns in the sides of Israel. And it's sad. It all goes back to those treaties that they make. They're making deals with the devil, deals with Satan, compromising themselves. And as they compromise themselves, they become more and more morally bankrupt, basically. And that's where we are today, too. That's where we're headed. I see it with human behavior in my job. It just continues to get worse. I'm sorry to keep rambling. I'm done. That concludes First Kings. Tomorrow we'll begin Second Kings. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.